What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to show you how I put together a cheap but effective vocal recording area for my home studio. Welcome back, YouTube. My name's Tony. So around this time last year, when my area's COVID restrictions started loosening up a little bit, there was a bunch of my clients who wanted to jump right back into working on their projects. And a couple of those clients' projects were at a point where we needed to start recording some vocals. Now, one of the big challenges that I've always found with recording vocals in a home studio is that there's a lot of parallel surfaces, a lot of reflections, and the room ends up working against you most of the time. So when recording in a home studio situation, the first thing I try and do is just eliminate the room altogether. If you watched my video from a couple years ago about how to record vocals, you'll have seen that I used to put my clients in the back corner of my room with a heavy blanket behind them and a reflection filter in front of them to kind of deaden the sound of the room. Now, my studio is pretty small, and when my clients came back wanting to record again, there were still some social distancing recommendations in place. So I decided to put something together just outside of my studio room so that the singer and I could be separated and we could still have a nice dead sounding room to work in. So as I was doing before, I'll be using my Prime Acoustics reflection filter behind the microphone. And behind the singer on the walls, I've attached a bunch of these foam squares. Now I want to be clear about these products. These things get marketed all the time as acoustic treatment, but they're not really going to do a damn thing for the acoustics in your room. They're far too thin to treat low frequencies, and these ones frankly are too thin to treat mid-range frequencies, or really much of anything. The one thing that these foam panels actually do is deaden reflections off your side walls. So effectively, they're not much more of an acoustic treatment than just hanging some blankets on your walls. But seeing how the goal here is to just deaden the sound of the room, they'll work okay for that. Well, here it is, my makeshift vocal booth. So we've got a little bit of foam behind me on either side, and the reflection filter behind my microphone. Now that stops the reflections from bouncing off the wall behind me into the mic, and the reflection filter reduces the amount of room noise coming back into the mic. And for reference, this is how the microphone sounds in the other corner of the room, with no treatment whatsoever. It's not perfect, but it certainly helps to keep the room reflections out of your recordings. For the panels I put on the wall side, I was able just to stick one nail into them and into the wall to hold them in place. But I didn't really want to punch 6 holes into my door. So for the panels on the door, what I've done is super glued an old blank CD onto the back of the foam, and then just use some tape to stick it to the door. I tried at first just using the tape right on the foam, but the foam is porous enough that the tape didn't really stick to it, and they fell right off the door. So the CD is there just to give the tape something to stick to. I ripped the glued CD right off the foam while I was taking them down so I could get this shot. That glue takes about 24 hours to fully set, so for now I guess this door just gets 5 panels. So by deadening the 2 walls behind the singer, and putting my reflection filter behind the mic on the other side, we've effectively deadened a lot of the early reflections bouncing off the walls near the singer into the microphone. Now I only grabbed 12 pieces of foam, but if I had another 4, I'd put them up on the ceiling, just to deaden the early reflections coming from above the singer. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like what you saw and would like to see more like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Hell, you've watched YouTube videos before, you know the spiel. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time.